Opinion never again why the emergency must remain in our collective memory. On June 25, 1975, the lights of Indian democracy were abruptly turned off. In a chilling announcement broadcast on All India Radio, then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi declared the President has proclaimed the emergency. This is nothing to panic about. But panic there was, and for good reason. The declaration of the emergency marked the suspension of fundamental rights, the dismantling of democratic institutions, and the persecution of opposition leaders and ordinary citizens alike. As we observe 50 years of that dramatic chapter in Indian history, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's words resonate deeply. The Constitution of India was completely rejected. Every part of the Constitution was torn to pieces, the country was turned into a prison, and democracy was completely suppressed. In the 18th Lok Sabha, Modi urged the nation to take a solemn pledge, a resolution of a vibrant democracy, so that such a tyranny never revisits our land. But remembering the emergency is not just a political ritual, it is a civic duty. It is an obligation we owe to those who resisted, who were jailed, tortured, or silenced, and to future generations, who must know what happens when power becomes absolute. To institutionalize this collective remembrance, the Government of India has decided to observe June 25 every year as Samvidhan Divas. This symbolic day will commemorate the massive contributions of all those who endured the inhuman pains of the 1975 emergency. The announcement underlines the national commitment to safeguarding constitutional values and ensuring that history does not repeat itself. The events leading to June 25, 1975, had been brewing for years. After a resounding electoral victory in 1971 and a triumph in the Bangladesh Liberation War, Indira Gandhi was at the zenith of her popularity. Yet within just a few years, her political base began to erode. The economy was reeling. High inflation, unemployment, and food shortages had triggered widespread unrest. Students, trade unions, and civil society mobilized against rising authoritarianism. But it was the Allahabad High Court judgment of June 12, 1975, that lit the fuse. The court found Indira Gandhi guilty of electoral malpractice and declared her election void, disqualifying her from holding office. Facing a political and legal crisis, Indira Gandhi acted with calculated decisiveness. On the night of June 25, she advised then-President Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed to declare a state of emergency under Article 352 of the Constitution, citing internal disturbances. Her close aide and then West Bengal Chief Minister Siddhartha Shankar Ray reportedly drafted the request, laying the legal foundation for a move that would bypass Parliament, the judiciary, and the people. The emergency, which lasted from June 25, 1975, to March 21, 1977, was arguably the most totalitarian phase in the history of independent India. Civil liberties were suspended, fundamental rights under Articles 14, 19, and 21 were nullified, the press was gagged, newspapers operated under censorship, and the power supply to news offices was cut off. Nothing could be published without government approval. The only television channel, Doordarshan, became the mouthpiece of the ruling regime. The political opposition was decapitated overnight. Arrests were swift and sweeping. Jayaprakash Narayan, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Rajnath Singh, Morarji Desai, L.K. Advani, George Fernandez, and Chaudhry Charan Singh were all jailed. Thousands of student activists, including Arun Jaitley, Lalu Prasad Yadav, Nitish Kumar, and Ram Vilas Paswan, were imprisoned. Countless others went underground or lived in fear. Under the draconian maintenance of Internal Security Act (MISA), arrests could be made without a warrant or trial. Sanjay Gandhi, Indira's son, and an unelected power center, oversaw mass sterilization drives and slum demolitions that devastated poor communities in the name of urban beautification. Those who resisted were silenced, often brutally. In jails and police stations, torture became routine. The judiciary too buckled under pressure. In a stunning judgment in the ADM Jabalpur case, the Supreme Court ruled that citizens had no remedy even if illegally detained. Many who lived through the emergency still bear its scars. A former student activist, then 17, recently recounted how he was arrested, tortured, and jailed for publishing a small underground newspaper supporting JPS movement. "I shall never forget those dark days," he said, echoing the trauma of thousands who stood up against authoritarianism. He was associated with the Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad ABVP, the student wing of the RSS, one of the few organized forces that resisted the emergency. This is not just the story of one person, it is the story of a generation that was robbed of its voice, its rights, and its future for 21 months. Nanan in January 1977, sensing growing unrest and under the illusion that her popularity would secure her return, Indira Gandhi announced fresh elections. But the people of India spoke with resolute clarity. The Congress party suffered a historic defeat. Indira Gandhi herself lost in Rae-Bareli to Raj Narayan, the very man who had challenged her election. The Janata Party, a coalition of opposition forces, swept to power. Morarji Desai became the first non-Congress Prime Minister. The Maintenance of Internal Security Act was repealed, and a formal apology was offered to the nation. L.K. Advani, then Information Broadcasting Minister, memorably rebuked the media's role during the emergency, saying when asked to bend, they were willing to crawl. The trauma of those months remains deeply embedded in India's democratic memory, a constant warning against unchecked power. As political temperatures rise and ideological battles rage, some may dismiss the emergency as a relic of the past. But history is not just about what happened, it's about what could happen again. Democracies don't die in a day, they erode when citizens forget how hard they had to fight to preserve them. The lessons of the emergency are eternal. Nanan India is, and must remain, the mother of democracy, as Speaker Om Birla reminded Parliament. For that, we must nurture constitutional values with unwavering vigilance. Nanan Prime Minister Modi aptly said, the new generation of India will never forget that the constitution was torn to pieces. But for that to happen, they must be taught in schools, in homes, and in public discourse about those 21 months when the constitution was suspended and democracy was held hostage. Let June 25 not pass as just another date in the calendar. Let it stand as a day of national remembrance, a reminder that democracy is fragile, that freedom is precious, and that the cost of silence can be too high. The government's move to institutionalize June 25 as Samvidhan Hatya Divas is a powerful step in that direction. It is more than a symbolic gesture, it is a civic warning and a democratic commitment. It ensures that we, as a nation, do not forget and do not forgive the betrayal of the constitutional order. As India marches toward its centenary of independence in 2047, the emergency must serve as a stark cautionary tale. We must renew our pledge not merely to oppose dictatorship, but to champion liberty, protect institutions, and give voice to the voiceless. Swipe left for next video. Only then can we truly say never again. Nan the writer is a technocrat, political analyst, and author. He pens national, geopolitical, and social issues. His social media handle is Prasenjitanth. Views expressed in the above piece are personal and solely those of the author. They do not necessarily reflect News 18's views. Latest blogs.